Hey everybody, G-Bear here. Another little project going on. As you probably noticed in the last couple videos from out at the homestead in the desert, my garden isn't doing very well. And I've associated that with the problem of lots of wind and hot, dry air evaporating all the water out of the garden faster than I can put it in there. It literally just dries the garden out. So I don't want that. I don't want to waste water out in the desert. Sorry about the plane flying over. I hope you can still hear me. Anyway, what my project involves here, and I saw this on another guy was doing something like this on the internet. It's called self-watering gutter type gardening. And this pipe, this black pipe here, is from my old hydroponics. And the way it would work is a grow basket like this. This is a number 8 or an 8 ounce. Would fit inside of here, and you'd fill that with media and plant your plant in there. And then your hydroponic liquids would flow through the pipe, usually plugged into a pump and a timer, and have a reservoir with the water. Well, that's not going to work out in the desert. So, and of course this pipe would get way too hot, and my fluids would boil inside of that out in the desert. So I've come up with this other idea. And what this idea involves is a system like this. Okay, now this is the input side right here. I'll get down close, and a garden hose will hook right up to that, and there's a float valve in there. The float valve is set so that it will maintain a flow of water, or a water reservoir. These pipes will be buried in the ground, and let me grab one of these, and the dirt will be right up over the top of the pipe here, just covering that under the ground. Then the whole thing gets covered with visqueen, and I'm using a plastic bag here to show you. I'll be using 6 mil visqueen. Okay, and then at each one of the holes, I'll show you how I made those. Those are 3-inch tees. A grow basket can fit in there, but if I do that, the roots are going to fill my pipe up in no time at all, because they're going to want that water down there, and I won't be able to flow water through there. So what I've come up with is this system, and this is an actual trash bucket. I'm not going to use this one. It has holes in the side of it which would cause some evaporation. Now what I did was I took one of these grow baskets and I drilled a 3-inch hole in the bottom of my bucket, and here's my grow basket, and I wrapped that in landscape cloth. And when I put this in there, I will unfold the landscape cloth from inside here and then fill this grow basket with just regular gardening soil. Okay, let me get that back down in there, and then I can fold this stuff out and cover the bottom of my bucket. Now I put a double layer of landscape cloth on the inside of my bucket. And the reason I did that was because I don't want sunlight getting to my roots. So that's just going to block sunlight from getting through the white bucket. Alright, now once I put soil in the bottom of that grow basket, I want to wet that. I want to soak it down really good. Then I'm going to add some more potting soil or garden mix into here, maybe some compost, and I'm going to soak that. Then I'll add another layer, and I'll soak that. I want to get it all wet so that the water in the pipe will wick up and keep the soil damp at all times. So the plants will get the water they need when they need it, without me having to go out there and water the plants all the time. And the wind can blow around this, and everything's going to be buried at the bottom, so the water will stay, my well will stay full. Now you're saying, what's going to hook it up to? Garden hose? Well, yeah, But the garden hose is going to be connected to a water barrel. I'll have a 55-gallon drum just sitting right here on the ground, right here in front of the unit, and a short piece of garden hose going from the bottom of the drum to the unit. The float valve will allow the water to gravity feed in and fill it up to within, I would say, a ½ an inch of the top here. So it'll give me a good amount of water in there. And the grow basket's going to be sitting down inside there with soil, so the soil is going to wick that water up. And as it wicks up into the soil of the bucket, it'll feed my plants. Okay? Now for animals, I'll put a cage or a probably like a chicken cage around this thing, so I can go in and walk in between it. Now I've got my plants with 11-inch pieces in between. That puts these things just about 14 inches apart, and it's about the same distance across this way, maybe 16 inches across this way. What that does is it gives me nice spacing on my plants, and as you can see with this bucket here and another bucket here, the plants can come up and they can grow as big as they want. Now if I'm going to put tomatoes in, I'll put tomatoes in this one on the end, and then I'll skip 2 and put another tomato plant in over there. In between I might put some lettuce or something like that, something that's leafy and doesn't really bush out and take up too much space. I can also alternate them back and forth on a Z like this if I want, but every other plant will be one that grows large, and every other plant will be one that's a leafy vegetable or even a root vegetable. I could even grow potatoes in one of these if I wanted to. Alright, that's the situation that I've got going here, and I didn't glue any of this together right now because I got to haul it all out to the desert, and it's easier if it's all in pieces and I just assemble it and glue it out there. And my float valve there on the end, I'll just put a couple of dabs of silicone on this end cap so that I can get it off of there if I have to replace the valve. The valve actually, right in the lever of it, comes with an extra seal. In case your first seal wears out, you can just change it out and you've got a seal. But the Home Depots up there in the desert all carry these float valves for swamp coolers, so I don't have to worry about it. If I need another one, I know where to get it. And this big oval hole in here is so that I can access the valve, make sure it doesn't stick, and I will cover that over with some tape or landscape cloth or whatever, so no dirt gets down inside there. Okay, now let's go over and I'll show you how I did those tees. Here's a standard 3-inch tee, and yes, these are used. These are all from my hydroponics, and when I took my hydroponics apart, I saved all the parts. So this is a regular tee. Now look how deep the tee on there is. If you take a grow basket and you put it in there, it will actually sit up too high here, and as you can see, it doesn't get down into the pipe far enough. So what I did was I put these on my chop saw, and I set a temporary wooden gate here on my chop saw, so that when I run the blade down, it cuts 3/8 of an inch above this shoulder right there. And that gives me a finished item like this. Now if you look at my grow basket, it sits down in there just nice and perfect, and as you can see, as we look in the end here, it goes almost to the bottom of the pipe, so that will allow some good soaking and good wicking of water up into my grow buckets. I can actually use the grow bags on this if I wanted, but I have problems with critters out there, so I'm going to stay with the grow buckets. I think they'll be a hardier, stronger unit, and when it's time to clean them, I just pull the whole bucket right off of the ground unit and go clean it all out, save my soil, put it back into my compost, so forth and so on. Anyway, in case you were wondering, after the visqueen is on here, I'll just take a razor knife and make a cross cut in there so that I can